Can solve problems using relationships between angles formed by intersecting lines. So I'd like you to have your notebook out, write special angles on top, and draw your line down. Also have your packet sitting next to you to fill in your vocabulary words. All right, let's do a review. You can draw these two shapes, and I want you to fill in for the missing angles. And then I want you to tell me which one is complementary, which one is supplementary. So use these two words and decide where they would go. Come back when you are done. All right, let's take a look. So we know this is 90 degrees. So we would take, whoa, I'm in a highlighter. So let's take 90 degrees minus my 40, and that would give me 50 degrees. So this angle right here is 50 degrees I could fill in. Well, this is a straight line, and all lines are 180 degrees minus my 28, and that would give me 152 degrees. So this is 152 degrees. Hopefully you were able to tell me that complementary, because they complement, plus this is a corner. So that's a corner to tell me it's 90 degrees, and a corner and C go together. Supplementary then was 180 degrees, and hopefully you're able to tell me that's supplementary. So make sure you have that labeled. Okay, let's ask it in a slightly different way. You don't have to write the words, just show me what you would do. So go ahead and stop the video now, read these two, and come back when you are done. Okay, let's check your work. The measures of an angle of 175.6. What's the measure of its supplement? Well, again, supplement is 180 minus 175.6. And I hope you're writing this down because it helps you to remember, is 4.4 degrees, because I will be checking your notes tomorrow. Last one, complementary. Again, complementary means 90 minus the 62. So my answer is 28 degrees. All right, so let's move on and let's go to our packets, and we're going to get 3 new words. We have adjacent. Adjacent means they share a vertex and a side. So they share the corner of the angle and a side. So let's look what that means. If here's one angle, they'd have another angle coming right off it because they share this vertex and they'd share this side. So it's kind of like your next door neighbor. These two angles are right next door. So I like to also write in here the word next to help me to remember that. Let's get vertical angles. Remember to stop the video if I'm going too fast. Vertical angles are opposite of each other. So let's understand what that means. So if I have two intersecting lines, they would be directly opposite of each other. Or another word people like to say is across from each other. One thing you can see with these is like these two green ones would be across each other. Do you see how they also make the letter V? So if I had the letter V, well then it's an upside down letter V and they both share this vertex. And that's how we get vertical angles. Congruent then isn't actually a set of angles, it just means that angles with the same measurement. So it doesn't mean they're the same angle, they just mean they have the same degrees, the same measurement. And there's a symbol we use that's the equal sign, and then this little squiggle on top, whatever you want to say, adjacent angles and put them here. Then get me a set of vertical, a set of congruent, and a set of supplementary. Stop the video now. Come back when you are done. All right, let's take a look. Another set of adjacent angles next to. You could have written angle 1 and angle 2. Those two are right next to each other. You could have written 1 and 3. Nope, those are across. But 2 and 3 are, and 3 and 4, and then back to 4 and 1. Do you see how they all share the line? All right, vertical angles would be across, and I already gave you angle 1 and angle 3 across from each other, or angle 2 and angle 4 are across from each other. Congruent now. Congruent means the same size. So do you see how this is a nice big angle and angle 1 is? Well, 3 is the exact same size, so angle 1 and angle 3. And then the little angles 2 and 4. So vertical angles are congruent. And lastly, supplementary. Supplementary are right next to each other. So these two, 1 and 4, they make 180 degrees. 1 and 2 make 180 degrees. 2 and 3 make 180 degrees, and so does 3 and 4. All right, last thing I'm going to have you do here is I'm going to tell you that this is, let's say, 40 degrees. Can you find the angle? So if I give you angle 2, can you find the measure of angle 1, 3, and 4? Stop the video now and give it a try. All right, angle 1, let's do that first. Well, this is a straight line, so if I take 180 minus 40, I get 140 degrees. So that means this big one is 140 degrees. The nice part is that's the only math you have to do. After that, if this big one's 140, this one's 140 degrees. If this little one's 40, this little one over here is 40 degrees. And if I can do it really well, let's see if I can prove it. So if I draw it, and then I take it and see if I can flip it over. Whoops, it didn't flip. I should be able to now put it right in there. Not a very good drawer, but there it is. It's 140 degrees, so they're the same angles. All right, we have one last word, and this is the hardest word of them all, corresponding. So let's get what it is first. It's angles in the same position. However, this only happens on parallel lines. Okay, so you can draw yourself a set of parallel lines. We'll come back to this in a minute. Let's go back to our notebooks and let's actually draw ourselves a set of parallel lines because you need to get a couple things on here. Biggest thing you need to know about parallel lines is they have a line that cuts through them. Why can't I find it? That's called, let's draw a line that cuts through. And this line, I'm going to actually see if I can make it straighter. It has a name to it. Let me get rid of this one. And let's get an actual line. There we go. It's easier to see. This line has a name that you need to write down because it'll be a question on your assignment. The line is called a transversal. Where that name comes from, I have no idea. But that's the name of that line that cuts through two parallel lines. What's cool about parallel lines, if you look closely, is I'm going to cover up the bottom one. You see how it's just a set of intersecting lines? So if this was, let's fill this in first. If I tell you this is 110 degrees, go fill in the other 4, or other 3. Well, if that's 110, this is 110, which 110 minus 180 is 70 degrees. So this would be 70, and this is 70. Okay, pretty cool. Verticals across are the same size. Okay, so everything's the same as what you just did before. The difference now is that corresponding angle. That only happens on these kind of lines, parallel lines. So here's where my drawing comes in. If I take this that we just did this, and I take that and I move it right along. These ones down here are the exact same size as these up here. So once I know one set, I can just fit all these in. This is also 110. This is also 70. Just look at their sizes. You can see that they are the same thing. If that little one's up on top is 70, so is this one. So because they are corresponding, they're in the same spot on it. So if you look at this top parallel line, you see this one right here, it's on the top of the bottom parallel line. So those would be corresponding to each other. So let's go back into our packet, our vocab. Let's draw that transversal. Okay, so let's do a different one. Let's do the bottom right here. So it's on the bottom of the parallel line, and that same one would be on the bottom of this parallel line. Those would correspond. The thing about corresponding angles, just like vertical angles, they're also the same size, so they're congruent. So your assignment today is going to be in your packet. It's in backpacks. It's due tomorrow. You're going to answer some questions about these words, so have your vocab right next to you. The first word is supplementary. Well, again, that equals 180, so we need to go 1 and 3. Are those supplementary? Those equal 180? No, because they don't make a straight line. 2 and 6, 2 and way down here, nope. 4 and 6, nope. 7 and 8, oh, there's my straight line, so I would circle letter D. So you're going to go through this, you're going to fill in each one, and then you're going to go put it into backpacks. When you're done, you're going to get yourself ahead. This is not due tomorrow, but you want to get ahead and you're going to start working on CC 17 so you cannot have any homework on Friday.